Okay, so here, my first video was a little too big, so I'm having to trace back a little bit. Um, I did 2 layers real quick, overlay layers. Here you just see the color, and it's a little motion blur, Gaussian blur, but I messed with the balances, the color balances here and there. And then this layer, you can see that it's the same thing, just a little noise turned into a noise layer, um, and blurred a little bit, blurred down the noise. So over this, I'll start painting and bringing out a little more detail, but still, it's very low detail because I'll do a few layers of noise and color balances just to keep adding different dimensions, different space in the piece. So here we go. So usually I try to still stick to a high opacity or medium opacity, um, and the smaller my brush gets, the little more I'm focusing on the subject, like trying to bring out the form versus like because already I see some things that I want, but I definitely just don't want to keep redoing the piece. And it's, I don't have a super system, so I definitely, if I'm doing something like this, I have to before I decide on exactly rendering it out more and more, I need to get somewhere with it done at 80%. The good thing about this little oil sketch is that it kind of gives you some fun colors to pick off of. So you already have your palette in a way. So all you have to do is press the Alt key, just be on a brush, and I'd say a lot of times, like you find with values, like um, you study photography, and you'll find that a lot of realism is based in darker values. You know, like half the time the color keys are always in the lower part of the box. It's so I've come to find that I try to gear my art for film concept or sci-fi fun short film ideas. So I really try to get a look at what I'm doing in the world of how would you piece it together in a CG manner if you were doing it with the. So that's why I like rendering it out more and more. It's just with time you don't get a chance to render out all your pieces like the way you would. Here I'm painting at a low opacity just to kind of give me a few different values to play with in that little area. and I'll occasionally run over with a good sized brush at a very low opacity, just to kind of throw in a little bit of other little values that kind of bring out the blues and greens. Definitely bring out the warm. When you're dealing with the warm tones, you want to throw in them so that you can feel that bit of depth, and it just, if you stick with one, cool in the whole piece, it just doesn't come out. Well, for me. So here, just trying to create some depth with a little light, soft touch of low opacity, and then sometimes if I overdo it, I'll go, but right now I'm okay with it. And I'll just kind of mess with the levels just to kind of see if I can pull it, play with it. Sometimes I'll do like a little motion blur just to kind of get that sense of motion, but at the same time it just kind of does like if you're doing like any kind of painting or anything like that, you want to smudge your values together sometimes and just paint right over it, and it's a fast production method. Because I just novice editing my videos, I'm probably going to be doing 5-10 minute paints and then work on it for 5-10 minutes. So there'll be little intervals where I'll try and save the layers so you can kind of see what I did differently, just to bring out different parts of the piece. It's really hard to document something where you make thousands of decisions pretty fast, and you just have to find a way to show part of it. But in the future, I'll definitely have a better camera, and better equipment, so I can definitely show you a better look at what I'm doing. Or give you a better look at what I'm doing.